So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman. It's my great pleasure and privilege to be here every week with each and every one of you, whether you're listening live or later down the track. And today we have a very special privilege, a very busy man, Chris Simons. He's regional president. And I know, unless you've been to one of the big meetings around Australia, you may not have had the opportunity to meet Chris. So Chris Simons, he joined Manitech in 2008 as the Director of Sales, South Africa. His roles and responsibilities quickly increased, most recently as Regional President, EMEAA, Central and South America. And I think that means just about everywhere except North America. It's a very big role, and probably Korea and mainland China. Over his career, he has played an integral role in launching many new markets, including South Africa, Malaysia, India, China, Turkey, Indonesia, Thailand, and many countries in Europe. He has overseen the deployment of global systems incorporating events and business education platforms that have resulted in over $1 billion in revenues. Chris fosters a market where leaders have the freedom and support to thrive while also building an operation that's set for ongoing sustainable business. He's often known as a man of few words, but when he does speak, it's direct and very heartfelt. And Chris, I'm really grateful for you. I've been chasing this for a while, but I feel guilty with your travel schedule. So I thought while you're in Australia, it might not be such a big ask. So thank you very much for giving us some of your morning.
It's all good. Thank you, Sharon. And we just want to let you know that we're at corporate appreciate everything that you do for not only your business, but for the entire Australian business, hosting this call as you have for many years. So for me, it's a pleasure to be invited. And I know that you and I have spoken multiple occasions about me coming on. but the time was just always never appropriate. So under very upset group of presidentials downstairs, I said, listen, excuse me, I've got to go and do this call. And they were all tapping their watches, and they gave me exactly 30 minutes. So
we better get going.
Yeah, let's start. What would you like to discuss with me?
Well, as I said, many people on this call may have not had the opportunity to meet you. So it's always good to hear how you ended up from, such a long career, as Diana was saying, a veteran in our industry, how you ended up to be partnered with Manitech.
Okay, short and simple. So I've probably got about 30 years under the belt in the industry. I was fortunate or unfortunate to join the biggest network marketing organization in the world. And that's where I honed my skills, and I learned a lot about the industry. So I'm a field guy first and foremost. Let's get that out there. So I have empathy for the field. I understand exactly what it is to go through what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis. And secondly, I'm the corporate guy. So in the building, you need to understand that I am your man, the field's man at all times. And which I love, because that's exactly where my passion and my core is, to make sure that everything we do at corporate is a win-win for both the field and the company. I think many years of experience have shown me that if it's unbalanced, and I love using the word balanced, if it's unbalanced, someone's going to be unhappy and someone's not going to work to stay that way. So I first came across Manitech. I have a personal story. I was running a consulting firm. I was asked to come in and do some consulting on expansion for Manitech when it was starting to look at expanding globally. And I did some consulting for them and happened to go to a manifest. And that was the first time I was exposed to Dr. Nugent. And for those of you who don't know, my wife has ongoing health issues, which she's had for 29 years. So one of the things I did was, everywhere I went, I was always looking for that natural something that could help her with her health. So I would always come back with potions and lotions and bottles and all kinds of things that were going to sort these issues out. And as I said, I ended up at a manifest. I ended up speaking to a presidential who had very similar conditions to my wife. And she said, "Oh no, you have to take these products to your wife." So as usual, I arrived home with a whole box of goodies, and my wife was, I think I must have driven her dilly, because we had products from all over the world, as you can imagine. And this particular box, which she said, "Look, I've ended up, I've just started something and it seems to be helping. So let me not confuse it. I'll get back to this." And this box went into the cupboard in our home in Cape Town. And she was in remission and everything was going fine. And we moved to America and the box stayed in the cupboard. And probably 3 to 4 years later, I got a phone call from my home in South Africa, where my in-laws had moved in. And my father-in-law, my mother-in-law phoned me and said, "Look, we found this box of product. Do you think Jeff, my father-in-law, can have it?" I said, "Not sure." I said, "What's the expiry date on it?" So he said, "Oh, no, it expired like 2 years before." I said, "I'm sure he can have it." I do like my father-in-law, sort of. He's not a bad guy. So I said, "Hey, I'm sure he can have it," not knowing what the heck was going down. And cut a long story short, he was told by doctors to go and do a couple of things. He's an engineer, and he decided he ain't going to do that, and started doing some research. And he was on the internet in South Africa, and he somehow found Ambrotose, and he somehow found Manitec. Now, bearing in mind, Ambrotose and Manitec were not in South Africa at the time. So he was doing some research, and he was looking it up. And he's a typical male chauvinist who, my poor mother-in-law just runs around after him like coffee dear, tea dear, that kind of stuff. And this particular day, he got up off his perch and happened to go down the passage to the cupboard. They were living in our house, by the way, and go to the cupboard, the linen cupboard, and he starts hauling out some towels because he wanted to go and have a bath. And lo and behold, as he pulled some towels, the stack of towels fell down, and there, sitting in front of him, was a box. And guess what was sitting on the top of that box? Ambrotose. And he had just found it on the internet, and he had just started doing research. And it was like, wow. So, I mean, I think my path in Manitec was decided before me a long time before I joined the company. Mm-hmm. Cut a long story short, he took the products and he went back 6 months later. They said, "Oh, maybe we should take the pacemaker out." And he said, "I never took the pacemaker. I took this product." And that. So one thing led to another. And then Al joined the company, and I had a long history with Al, working with the Brit organization in India. And we got talking about all kinds of things. And then my wife, unfortunately, started taking a serious turn for the worse again, because her health is cyclical. We have good days, good weeks, and then bad months, So it was a really, really ugly, horrible time in my life. But, the light started shining through. My father-in-law had incredible results for the products. I knew the company. I was always impressed with the products and the science. Al joined the company, so I got a hold of him. So we started buying products for my wife, and it wasn't an instant success story. It took a while, but after 11 months of her consistently taking the products, we started seeing the benefits. And it was at about that stage that Al started harassing me to help him help the company in South Africa. I was living in Florida. Didn't really want to travel anymore. And I accepted a consulting position just to go and see what was going on in South Africa and see what I can do to help. And one thing led to another. They eventually said, "Look, we need you to go back." And 12 years later, I'm still with the company. So I started humbly as a sales director in South Africa. I was the only person in the country. I was very cheeky on my business card. I called myself the one and only. Because I literally did everything from events to finance to customer service to delivery issues to regulatory, banking, finance, taxes. I literally started that market with myself and a credit card. And 12 years later, South Africa is still one of the shining lights in our business. It constantly grows. So I did something right. And as the market grew, they decided that maybe they should give me a little bit more responsibility. So they lobbed on Europe first, and then Australia, and then and at one stage, I literally was running. I was caretaker manager for Australia, not Australia, for the USA and Canada. So rightly so, I ran literally the whole world apart from Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, which was crazy. And so I gave back Canada and the USA, and now I look after everyone else but Canada, USA, Korea, China, Taiwan, and Japan. So that's my quick story.
And we're very fortunate that you are, Chris. And so that one of the things I did want to ask you was, you were firsthand witness and possibly even could be the instigator of the South African success. So from your perspective, what is unique about them, and what could Australia learn from their experience?
I think there are a couple of, there are no major secrets to South Africa's success. I think the first and foremost was the fact that the South Africans always treated it as a business first. So to them, the opportunity was the product, yes, but the opportunity was the business opportunity as well. And very unique in South Africa in that, they've been living in very uncertain times, which has fueled a desire to have opportunity not only at home, and the fact that this is a global seamless compensation plan, the fact that it allows them to have businesses in markets and places that they never would have, the fact that it allows them the opportunity at any given time to relocate to a country we operate in and just and carry on with their business was exciting for them. And as I said, my approach was that it was a business opportunity with a phenomenal product. It wasn't a phenomenal product with a business opportunity. So that's where their focus was. They didn't have the history of the miracle of the product and the story that came before the business opportunity, because for a long time, Manatech didn't have to focus too much on a business opportunity because the story was just phenomenal. And it was not easy to grow the business. It was easy to share the business just by using the product. So the South Africans had a second advantage, being that they literally have a single line of sponsorship. So they have one leadership pivotal point that I was able to work with and support. It's a lot easier when you have when you have one head talking for the most time. It gets a bit confusing when you've got 5 or 6 different heads. So nothing exceptionally profound in why South Africa has been successful, apart from, they're hungry. They're hungry for the opportunity. They're hungry for a sense of community. They like the fact that we have these meetings every quarter, and 800 to 1,000 people come to them every single quarter, 4 times a year. So it's a sense of belonging. It's an opportunity. And if you treat it like a business and not a hobby, it's going to reward you as a business and not a hobby. So they've been very successful because of that.
Excellent. So it's pretty clear there what secrets we could take away from that for Australasia and for anybody listening here today. And, what kind of, from your perspective over the last, is it 8 years?
No, I've been 12 years.
12 years. From your perspective, what are the major milestones for Manatech in that time, and where do you see the priorities in the development further for our global company?
I think that the major milestone is the fact that the company, as I joined, was under serious issues with the Texas Attorney General in the manner of how we were doing business and how we were presenting the product. That in its own would have closed any company down. I personally have never seen a company that's withstood the scrutiny and the negativity that was thrown at this organization, this company globally. So to me, that was the first milestone, the fact that we were able to withstand this attack, and it was an attack, But then the ability with not only corporate, with the field, to realize that we now needed to change the way we did business, the way we represented the opportunity. And it was very, very difficult. It was a major learning curve for just about every country, every market, and every leader. So those were a couple of the huge milestones that I've seen us overcome. Obviously, with new development, new technology, bringing in new products has been exciting. The fact that we're now looking at an affordable line to go to, which is going to complement our core products, not sacrificing any quality or efficacy on an inferior brand, but just making whole the gaps that we have in our offering. So huge steps are being done right now to bringing us up to speed with regarding our shopping cart and the internet and social media platforms, and that we are striving to get as good as we can and as quick as we can. But we are a publicly traded company, which is a good thing. It means we're very transparent. It means everything we say we do. Everything we show that we've done. No one can question whether, if I tell you we pay 41.1% commission, you can go and look at it and you can see it. So, but obviously the drawback to a public company is everything takes time, because it's got to be checked, ratified, approved. It needs board approval, especially when it's stuff that's going to affect the business and possible shareholders. So things do happen, Sharon. They just, unfortunately for me, happen too slowly. But in the long run, it's a lot better that we do it that way, because we want to be here another 25 years. There are very few companies that last 25 years, and we're eyeing out the 50 years. We're not just happy with 25. So it's a slow process, but it is a constant process that we're trying to get, from a corporate standpoint, better and better and better at what we do.
That web development you've referred to, is that something that will be launched globally and seamlessly?
Yes, it's going to be a global. I mean, the new shopping cart will be global. Right now, we're migrating a lot of our existing server space into the cloud. We're moving. We're being far more clever as to how we use the cloud, because server to server takes time, and there's latency, and there's obvious defect opportunities that come in which mess with ordering processes and downtime. So that is a priority for us, is to get that platform working a lot quicker and making it more stable than what it is. So yes, it definitely will be a global rollout. We normally will test it in a market first. Right now, we're testing some new success tracker stuff in Hong Kong, and as soon as that stabilizes, we'll import it and load it onto all the rest of the websites. But we, as a global seamless company, it has to be done globally. So we've got to try and make sure we get that done as quickly as possible everywhere. Okay,
great. And as part of that new program, will it be possible to get a not for resale program for available? Because we've got such an issue in Australia, and I think it's going to even get worse in regards to the vilification of certain ingredients. And I mean, it's like the dark ages.
Funny enough, there was quite a bit of the discussion I had. I'm in Australia. I'm in Sydney right now, having some leaders meetings with some of the presidentials. And that was a long topic of discussion. And in a nutshell, we need to, in my opinion, we need to tread cautiously around the whole NFR opportunity. I think it would be foolish for us to rush into changing the way we do business, not knowing the full ramifications and implications of something like a full NFR opportunity. But it is something that we are working on and looking at, and working with legal and regulatory. I know that for the most part, there is quite a negative feeling here in Australia from government officials and regulatory bodies about a full NFR opportunity. But it is something we will look at. but there are other solutions. I spent 2 days looking at local manufacturers, and there are ways of getting around issues that don't mean we need to now change our way we do operate our businesses. So you guys are probably aware that we are piloting the NFR opportunity in Europe, and we're having a fair bit of success, but it's a hybrid NFR model. The products are not being shipped from Australia; they're still being shipped out of Europe, out of a bonded facility in Europe. So it's a work in progress, and that's not to say that NFR won't be good for 1 or 2 markets in this region. But I think, Sharon, I don't talk out of turn until I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I've got the job done. So it is something that we are looking at. It's something that I'm not rushing into because of obviously, it's a risky final solution. And we've got too much at stake, and we've been around for too long to rush into something without understanding the full ramifications of what it is that we're trying to do.
So all of us that are dreaming of GI Zyme and cardio balance, and we can keep dreaming.
Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop dreaming. Okay.
Okay, I'll keep dreaming. And Irene's just asked.
Trust me, don't. Okay.
Okay, all right. And so also the new launch products that are happening in North America, like the Essentials Catalyst and the Prime products, will they be coming to Australasia?
Yes.
Excellent. And
yes.
Irene will be saying, Sharon, why aren't you asking him when? Because he was like
because as I said, it's a working. One of the things I did yesterday was the day before was meet with the manufacturer to that's working on the new catalyst. There are other products that you're not even aware of that I'm already working on for Australia. They haven't even been launched yet in the USA. So ultimately, where we'd like to be is obviously do a global rollout. It never seems to work out that way. Yeah. But we are trying to look at formula that sort of work in most markets with as minimum tweak as we need. So there are 3 products in the pipeline that I'm looking at. 2, one's the catalyst that we're working on, and there are another 2 that are coming that are going to be released in the US that I'm already working on for Australia.
Cool. And Phil Walkton Brown is asking if the not for resale program you're talking about is similar to what's related in Amazon sales. Is that where the risk is?
No. One's got nothing to do with the other. And by the way, the Amazon sales are going to. Amazon have got very, very clever, and they have. They literally are helping us police Amazon sales. In order for you to be able to sell on Amazon, and this is a new initiative in the US, you have to have what they call a transparency code sticker on your product. And the only way you can get that sticker is from the manufacturer. So if we wanted you to sell on Amazon, we need to give you a product with a transparency code sticker on it. Otherwise, Amazon will just not allow that product to be even advertised or fulfilled from Amazon right now in the USA. So we've seen a huge slowdown in Amazon sales in the USA, and they're going to roll that out globally because, quite frankly, what's being sold now on Amazon is stuff that's already sitting in the Amazon fulfillment program, but you cannot get any new product on it. So there is a huge awareness on this whole Amazon selling. It has nothing to do with NFR, but it has started already showing some results in the US, and Amazon will eventually roll that out globally in the next 6 to 8 months. So that'll put a stop to a lot of the selling on Amazon, but there are multiple other places, that folks are just going to graduate towards eBay and things like that. But eventually, we'll be able to police those and make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity. Look, we're never ever going to beat Amazon. If anyone tells you we're going to beat Amazon, they need their head read. That's a multi-trillion-dollar industry that we've just got to figure out how to work best with them and how to partner with them to to support us in making sure that we have a level playing field for everybody. So that was an interesting side conversation about Amazon. But NFR has nothing to do with Amazon.
Okay, perfect. And what can you tell us about your visit here? What's standing out for you in Australia? You know, like for us, what can we do better, and what are we doing great?
Okay, so in a nutshell, obviously, the last 2 years have been very interesting in Australia in that we've had a lot of we've had to do a lot of, from a corporate standpoint, we've had a lot to do a lot of corporate governance and actually and try and make the machine as lean as possible without killing it. For a simple reason that the board, one of the tasks they gave me all over the world in my markets is to make sure that we stop the bleed and stop losing money. And often the losing money or the bleed doesn't really reflect totally just on the ability of the sales force or the distributor force in moving the products. There's all kinds of challenges that go into the day-to-day running of a business, and often things that we as a company don't control and you as associates and associate leaders don't control. So it has been a very interesting last 2 years in that we've managed to stop, in my opinion, the bleed. So we don't have a declining business in Australia anymore. It is flatline, and some people will tell you a flatline business is a declining business. But I think we've got as a country to a very, very good place where we have a stable platform again. We're running a very lean office here in Sydney. Managed to cut back on ridiculous overheads that were just we're strangling the business here in Australia and strangling our business, our ability to grow. So from a corporate standpoint, we've got 3 or 4 very good young folks in the office that are very keen, that are very good at what they do. They're busy being molded into not just being good accountants, but being good network marketing accountants, and not being just a good marketing person, but a good network marketing person. So that's the process that we've been working on, and there'll be some news coming out next week. I'm not at liberty to say what it is yet, but some really, really good news for the country coming out. Just probably a press release on Tuesday, and stuff will be sent out from the office on Tuesday. But I think from our standpoint, we as a company are ready to support growth. The leader group are excited about growth. There's 2 countries in the world that right now don't have back order situations. Australia is one of them. Apart from Manabes, guys, Manabes is a global problem. We're working on it. I think I've found a solution here in Australia for Australia, so I'm working on that as well. But apart from that, we don't have back order situations right now with inventory. We've got fairly good levels of inventory. We've got some good management in place right now. We're working a lot closer with our partners in the US office. So we're in a good place in Australia. I'm always the positive one, and I'm always telling everyone I'm excited about our opportunity. But I truly believe, we've gone through the tough slog, and I feel it. I feel it when I talk to the leaders in the country, and I feel it when I talk to people in the field. The simplification of the compensation plan, making it real simple for people to understand it was imperative. The fact that you can use the Team 2 and Team 4 as a business building block, as opposed to the AQP and the AQT, which were really customer acquisition systems, makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference when you can show people simply how you can make some money, and how you can build a business, and how it's duplicatable, and how the structure works, and how I'm excited because Australia really is in a good place. You've got product, you're going to get new product. You've got a very, very supportive team here in the Australian office. I'm passionate about this market. I'm spending more time here than I have ever before. So it's only onwards and upwards for Australia and New Zealand and and I'll have some answers on Singapore. I've got a board meeting coming next week, and I'm quite far down the path of getting answers and a solution for Singapore. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we will be able to tell the folks, well, what we can and what we can't do in Singapore, and where we're going to go from there.
Excellent, Chris. What a wonderful perspective. And is there any new regions opening closer to us planned?
No, the board is still adamant about not opening new markets, but the pivotal point for me is Singapore. And obviously, there's a lot of benefits from us being able to function and operate out of Singapore. And let's leave it at that.
Okay. Sounds good. And we're right in the last 2 minutes of your 30 minutes with us. So okay. That last part was very heartfelt, but what's in your heart to leave the leaders in Australasia with?
That really, you know what, we truly have a phenomenal opportunity. We have, without a doubt, I don't believe there's any company out there that can come even close to what our products mean and the story behind our products. I truly, and Sharon, I live my testimony every time I wake up in the morning and I see my wife's smiling face. Mm-hmm. So we have the most incredible product that we should be sharing with the world. Okay, we have a really, really good compensation plan. Obviously, if you've been around a long time, it's not that exciting for people that have been around forever, and I get that. But for new people, it is simple, it is duplicatable, it is predictable. People can make some money, but it is a do something plan. And it's, we got to a point where we had to switch from the old compensation plan, which was a defensive compensation plan, to one that's going to grow. So we've got the best products. We definitely have a really, really good, generous compensation plan to invite people to. And there's absolutely no reason why we should not be back to $40-50 million in this region in the next couple of years. And obviously, with that growth comes more opportunity to cement other markets around us. And Australia, being as multicultural as it is pivotal to be. Is pivotal to the region. I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day. It's quicker to fly from Perth to Singapore than from Perth to Sydney. And how many Singaporeans are living in Perth? Mm-hmm. And we don't have a business in Perth yet. We've lost it. We've got small pockets of. So there's so much still to look at and offer I was in Melbourne. If I didn't know I was in Melbourne, I wouldn't know that I was in Australia. It is so multicultural. And we're better to start building a global business at home with the people around you. So, don't lose sight of the fact that your best business will always come from close to you, not from a distance.
Chris, God bless you. Thank you so very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got Al Bala next week. And I'm also been asked by several people in the field in regards to some updated education about China. And I'm working on that as well. So thank you. We appreciate all of you. And Chris, have a fabulous rest of your meeting in Sydney. And thank you so very much for being with us today.
Yeah, and Sharon, if you want, over the next couple of days, give me a call. I'll have a conversation with you about China.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you, everybody. Have a great weekend.